You talk about all the other areas that Iran is active in the region. Secretary Kerry said that the United States is going to, quote, up our game in terms of pushing back against Iran in those other areas. What would you like to see if the United States was indeed to up its game?
Look, I think the biggest danger is the dual threat that is posed against Israel. Our Arab neighbors, many of the Arab leaders who speak to me see eye to eye with me, as does the leader of the opposition here in Israel, that this deal by itself is the biggest security problem that we face. I think that the problem with Iran is that nothing has been actually restricted on its behavior. I had offered an alternative. They say there's no alternative to this deal. Of course there is. The first alternative was dismantle Iran's nuclear program for dismantling sanctions. That was the original American position. It was a good one. I offered another alternative. Dismantle part of Iran's nuclear facilities and don't remove those restrictions until Iran changes its aggressive behavior. But none of these restrictions, forcing them to stop their terrorism, forcing them to stop calling for Israel's destruction, forcing them to stop their attacks, which have killed hundreds of Americans, forcing them to dismantle the missiles that they're developing for you. They're not developing these intercontinental ballistic missiles for us. They're developing them for you. And they'll be able to tip them with nuclear warheads within 10 or 15 years. None of that has been required. So I think the right thing to do is merely not to go ahead with this deal. There are many other things that can be done to stop Iran's aggression, but making this deal is not one of them.
I know you're talking to lots of people. You're talking to us, obviously. Will you be lobbying members of Congress against this deal?
Look, I feel it's my obligation as the Prime Minister of Israel to speak out against something that endangers the survival of my country, the security of the region, the security of the world. And I obviously make my case. I think that's important. It's not only important for us, I think it's important for the entire world.
You've said that this is a catastrophic, a historic mistake. President Obama once said that he had Israel's back. Do you think that he's betrayed you here with this deal?
Look, I appreciate President Obama's and the United States' ongoing commitment to Israel's security. That's always something that's important. But this deal, on this we have a disagreement, an honest disagreement, a respectful disagreement among friends. I think that, people say, well, everybody agrees with this deal except Israel. Not true. First of all, everyone in Israel is united against this deal, opposition and coalition alike. Secondly, many in the region speak to me and tell me how they're worried that this deal will endanger their security in many, many ways. Thirdly, people say, well, the whole world agrees with it. That's not true. But even if they did, there was a celebrated deal just a few years ago, a nuclear deal. Everybody, the scientific community, the international community, everybody applauded it. It was a deal with North Korea. That proved to be a historic mistake as well. And North Korea today has 12 nuclear bombs and is on track to get, within a few years, 100 nuclear bombs. So I think that this is a repeat of the mistake of North Korea. And what's more, Ayatollah Khamenei, the ruler of Iran, the dictator in Tehran, is saying that he's going to continue his battle against the United States and his worldwide terrorism. I think we shouldn't give them a reward. This deal paves Iran's path to a nuclear arsenal and makes the problem of terrorism in the region and in the world much worse by giving Iran billions of dollars for their war and terror machine.
All right.
Not a good deal.
All right, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, we'll have to leave it there. We'll be back in 1 minute.